Oh, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, outsiders of all ages, the Texas Longhorns are still not only undefeated, but really unscathed, uncut, unnicked, unscarred. The opposing teams have not put up much of a battle at all. They are 4-0, and they're getting ready for SEC play. It's about to just mean more. So we have one less tonight. That's not good math. Anyway, it is The Outsiders, brought to you by Poncho. Before we tell you who's not here, which you could probably tell easily who's not here, let's show you that beautiful Poncho shirt. It's called the San Jacinto. Want a Poncho shirt with the logo on it? There you go. You want one with a little Texas on the sleeve? Yep, that's it. Mention Orange Bloods Live when you place your order. PonchoOutdoors.com. It is a fantastic shirt no matter what you do. I got a poncho on this evening as well. Bo's wearing the poncho hat. What's up, Bo?
Well, I was just going to say, Jason, no need to send me your order for October. I already have you down for San Jacinto.
Heck yeah, man. Thank you. I appreciate that as always. And
we do need to say welcome back to Mr. Jason Dick. We will introduce him first in the T formation. It'll be a lot of direct snaps and Wildcat tonight. Jason Dick, how are you?
Great. Thank you. Thank you guys for having me back. I have no idea what's going on in the football world. Since we last spoke, apparently Texas has proven to be the best team in college football, and Andy Dalton is the best quarterback in the NFL. So I'm on crazy pills.
There's a lot going on. Yeah. Football comes at you fast. I mean, you take a breath, and there's a lot that can happen. Welcome back to you. Chance Mock is not with us tonight. Is a part of it that his Buffalo Bills are playing tonight? Maybe, although it's definitely not the pressure of that game because his Bills are up like 56-0 right now. Josh Allen has played the game of his life, and they are slaughtering the Jacksonville Jaguars. What's that updated score, Bo? 30-something to 3?
It was 34-3 at the half, I thought.
They
are the little timely 34-10 now.
Has Josh Allen passed Andy Dalton, guys? Is that what you're telling me?
His first half was 23 of 26 for 260 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Okay. He was dealing, absolute dealing. And
now they have it 3rd and goal at the 9.
Yeah, and in Cincinnati, it looked like that's what Joe Burrow and the crew were going to do, but Washington is dealing in Cincinnati. They're up like 21-10 right now as they are, I think, about to hit the half. Anyway, 2 Monday night games going on, but we'll talk a lot of Longhorn football tonight. If you want to jump in the chat, feel free. I'm already seeing – oh, there you go. Phil's almost on time. No problem. If you want to just throw in some hook 'em emojis, you can do that. Ashley's jumping in with hook 'em emojis and fire emojis at the same time. Ashley, that's probably appropriate right now because, as Jason referenced, it is the number 1 team, and they are playing lights out right now. Another easy win for Texas, fellas. 51-3 was the final. Bo, it was Arch Manning's first start. Give me your first thought tonight on what it looked like.
It was almost exactly what you thought it was going to be. There was some very big highs. Like Arch Manning, when he gets it right, it looks just amazing, and there's a reason he's a Manning. Arch Manning, when he didn't get it right, kind of reminded you that he still needs a little seasoning before he's NFL ready, which is okay. The defense was the same thing. Like the defense made numerous great plays with different people stepping up, but there were a couple guys that just went above and beyond. And what you hope is that it's because they're growing as players and not because they were playing the Warhawks with their coach who was having fun at his press conference talking about things that weren't even true, making his name on ESPN, so we beat the crap out of a really bad football team. We're going to do the same thing this week when we play Mississippi State. The only difference is this will be a conference victory and our first one in the history of Texas and the SEC. But
it just means more, Bo. It just means more. All right?
It does just mean more unless you hire a guy from Baylor named Jeff Lebby who is trash and coaches a team into the gutter, and that's why they're a 35-point underdog this week. And I mean, Mississippi State's a 35-point underdog, not the University of Texas.
Easy, Bo. I think I saw 38 in a hook today. You're being nice on Mississippi State.
Oh,
it's growing because everybody knows how bad Mississippi State is.
You see Bo
when you
setting
can
up his
make
picks
Florida look
already?
like a world beater.
You see him cheating the numbers already?
Oh yeah, he's already working it. He is already working it.
I'm 3-9 for the year. I'm not trying to make my triumphant return back up the mountain by taking a 35-point Texas. I'm not taking Texas at all.
Yeah. So Jason, you normally have that incredible glow on your face, but I know it has to be a little different tonight because your guy, Arch Manning, your breakthrough Longhorn player for the last 2 years, gets his first start. You had to be just giddy. You had to be giddy at the idea that he was getting his first start.
Well, yeah, and look, everything that Bo said, I think, is correct. Is that the highs are so unbelievably high? You're like, oh my gosh, I am watching football porn right now. But he makes some significant mistakes, and Bo mentioned, is he not NFL ready? I'm like, he hasn't played a game since he was in high school. Okay, so like he has to get college football ready. But no, I mean, it was incredible. It was great. And basically everything that I've seen from him, I'm like, wow, it's very rare that a player lives up to the hype. And I feel like so far in a very small sample size, he has lived up to the hype.
Don't get me wrong, Jason. It was a very impressive performance by Arch Manning, but it showed you why Quinn is still the guy. It shows you why Quinn was the one not yelling, but very enthusiastically rooting on some of the linemen and other players at breaks in the game. And go watch some of the clips of that. They were intently staring at what Quinn Ewers was saying. He's the leader of that team, and they're just different. Like Arch makes plays that Quinn probably can't make, i.e. the ones with the legs when he, is running so fast at 67 yards. Quinn ain't doing that.
Right.
And his deep ball does look better. Like there's a natural mechanic to it. The second piece of that, though, is Sarkisian, when he really wants to run his offense, involves a lot of motion, a lot of multiple routes, different concepts. You got to be able to throw the deep ball, but you got to also be able to throw timing, rhythmic passes in that, I don't know, let's say 7 to 12 yard range where you're hitting a guy with his hands out here, reaching for it, not at his body, not up here. And that doesn't mean Arch can't make those throws. It just means he needs game reps to get there. Unfortunately, beating up on, ULM and Mississippi State isn't going to give him those reps.
Right. And
hopefully he can get some of those reps, not due to injury, but just by natural progression of the game against a couple real opponents. Obviously, I'm not talking about Georgia, but based on Oklahoma's offensive performance, we might be able to get a big enough lead against Oklahoma that Arch Manning can get in at some point and throw some passes against their defense, that's trying to get him.
As somebody who picked Oklahoma +7 last week, I take offense to that. All right.
They almost backdoor covered.
Yeah, I was going to say.
They almost backdoor covered.
Oh, right. But no, I don't know how deep into hot take jackassery we want to get, but anybody who says there's like any even sort of a quarterback controversy, I'm like, now we're just searching for clicks, okay?
Hey, Jason,
because
while you were gone, Arch Manning came in after Quinn got hurt, and all of a sudden he was in the top 10 in the Heisman because he ran up the score on a team that Texas State had kicked the shit out of the week before. Like, let's tap the brakes just a smidge. Arch is great, and Arch is going to be great, and I'm not anti-Arch. But what I saw, the most impressive thing was Quinn Ewers in a moment where you could get down, at a moment where someone is getting elevated in the media, elevated on campus above you, just because of his name and obvious talent, is in genetics. But Quinn was the leader of that team, and that was the best thing for me because that tells me we have everything we need to go all the way. If Quinn gets hurt again, Arch can do it, but Quinn's the guy.
Especially I just think of last season during the playoff when he's sitting on the bench versus Washington by himself. Now, he's probably concussed at that point, so I'm not going to be mad at him for that. But no, I think the way that they have handled things has been perfect. Like Quinn, who's probably not going to play this week, but like, you know, a lot of guys, even though he's been like the big man on campus for his entire life, like when there is a hot backup quarterback, one named Manning, you might be like, no, I'm going to play. I'm ready to play. Put me in, coach. I'm ready to play. And the fact that he's like, no, I'm cool. And Arch is not like making a big deal about it. I think that they have handled the entire thing perfectly. And so, yeah, I have no complaints. I'm very impressed.
Let's be real. Mississippi State, the issue Mississippi State and Jeff Lebby have this week, because Blake Shapen got hurt and some dude named after a president, Mike Van Buren, you know, like the old Van Buren boys from Seinfeld. Like, that's what we're worried about, is some goober named Mike Van Buren.
You can play a booty.
General Booty.
You play a booty one week, you play a Van Buren the next week. What's going on here, man?
Sometimes college football is all booties and Van Burens. That's the way the 24 season is looking for Texas right now. Everything is coming up roses. Speaking of Quinn and that leadership, we'll show you a little bit of that if you missed it. Right now, though, let's start thanking some of those great folks. Obviously, we thank Poncho right at the top. We are the Outsiders, brought to you by Poncho Outdoors, but one of those others, yeah, it's the good folks at Covert Ford. You'll hear from Bo, but first you're going to see the truck.
Covert Ford of Austin. All season, we're bringing the football fun to you with unbeatable deals on our all-new Ford F-150s. Whether you're tailgating with friends or cruising to the big game, our powerful trucks are your perfect MVP. Come experience the rugged performance and cutting-edge features that make every drive an experience. Touchdown savings await at Covert Ford of Austin, a family tradition since 1909. CovertFord.com.
Right there on 183 is Covert Ford. Covert Ford is an Austin staple. Covert Ford has been around for over 100 years for one reason only, because they take care of their customers before, during, and after the sale. Whether it's service, whether it's a trade-in, whether you just want to go talk to Kenny Covert or Chris Abbott in the showroom floor about the vehicles that are coming out, they're there for you. Closed on Saturdays for obvious reasons. It's game day. Open on Sundays. It's Covert Ford right there on 183. Go see Outsider Christopher Abbott. Tell him you heard about it on the Outsiders, and he'll make sure he takes real good care of you. It's Covert Ford.
Chris Abbott, Mr. Legitimately Worth the Shit himself. All right. So, again, no Chance mock this evening. Chance,
we want a real Jason Dick on this thing, huh, Chance?
We may have a Chance appearance later.
Okay.
He had a family obligation. We'll call it a family obligation. He's being a good human being and therefore could not be here.
Oh.
But after what Reese Davis and his brother Trevor did to let him know what Reese Davis did, there is a chance might make. I didn't even mean the pun there. There is a chance will make an appearance after Reese Davis caught him with a serious stray on ESPN Game Day.
I think I'd rather hear Chance talk about it after drinking. So as long as he's been drinking, that'll be good. As far as Texas and 51-3 goes, let's take a look, fellas. Let's see if I can share my screen properly here, and we'll take a look at Mr. Ewers and part of what got caught on the game. We were talking about leadership and all that, and we won't. Sorry, let me make sure. There we go. Maybe, are you seeing that? Oh, no. Am I buffering?
Yeah, this is great. This is great internet streaming radio.
What did I do? I'm just trying to get it to run. Why can't it run? There we go. Oh, lots of F-bombs. I like it.
Oh, you think that young man said the F word, Chad?
If I'm reading lips at one point, it doesn't matter who we F and play. Yeah, a lot of good energy on Saturday. And that was one of the questions I think some people had, at least going into it, was, what's Quinn going to be like when he is not having to deal with the injury stuff? Because we talked about, you had to kind of give him a mulligan last week with everything that must have been flowing through his mind. But seemed to handle things really well, fellas, and understand. Not only does he understand the full situation, maybe more importantly, Jason, it felt like everybody understood the situation. The players were reacting really positively to him. And I'll keep saying it, as long as Sark and Arch and Quinn know exactly what's happening here, everybody else is going to follow.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I don't really understand the injury situation. I don't know what an oblique is. I don't have those on my body, but he has an abdominal situation. I'm like, oh, I have that every day. As a matter of fact, here, what do you need, buddy? But no, I just thought it was so perfectly handled, and it's so, even if maybe it took Quinn 3 years of being on campus to sort of get comfortable to act like that, because you didn't really see that from him a year ago. All right. Even though he was the man, like, you didn't see that kind of behavior from him. And to see that now, I think it's tremendous. And I just think that the way that Sark has handled this entire situation is great. And let me say about Sark, because there was a real dick on this show a year ago who said, are we sure he's a good coach? Are we sure he's not just an offensive coordinator? And like, now I'm like, he runs this program so absolutely perfectly, like from top to bottom, everything about it. I am like wildly impressed. It reminds me of 10 years ago, Alabama, where they're up 50, okay? And one of his players makes a bad play, and Sark is chewing his ass out. And I'm like, that's kind of a dick move, man. Kind of a dick move. But what would Nick Saban do? All right? That's how Nick Saban would act. And so if this program is going to perform with that level of efficiency and like, again, in my opinion, be so perfect every week, I'm just like,
well,
my bad, Sark.
I think the word you're looking for, not just with Quinn and the Arch situation, but Sark as well, is maturing. Sark 10 years ago at Washington post USC, and as he was elevating up the coaching ranks, didn't have that maturity or confidence in himself. And he had other issues at play, but that's neither here nor there. But he got around guys that he learned from at various steps where he understands. You know who's also in that same Sark mode? Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin, when he started out his career at Tennessee and then with the Oakland Raiders, was a young hot shot with an ego and maybe addiction issues, et cetera, et cetera. But once you've climbed the mountain and been pushed off of it and you're getting those second chances, that there's a maturity there. Sark believes in what he's doing. He's trained under the best coaches in the history of football, just about, between Saban and others, Pete Carroll, Norm Chow. He's worked with some of the best. He's now methodical about how he handles his business, and it translates down. Quinn Ewers, when he got here with the mullet and the really bad facial hair and the ego and all the money, like, it's a byproduct. You play like that. How many guys in the NFL act like, beyond their first year in the NFL, how many guys actually act like that? Because once you get into a team with veteran leadership or a veteran coach, it gets beat out of you or it gets coached out of you. Well, the same thing happens to coaches, where by losing or by falling down a few pegs, you gain the humbleness to accept what, Sark is much more of a delegator now. He relies on his coach. Like, he comes up with the plan and he does it, to the point where I think he had, like, when Quinn got hurt, I texted Chance and he showed the text on air. I was like, this is a goof. He told Quinn to pretend to have a cramp so Arch would get some real reps in the second quarter. Turns out I was wrong. Just like my theory now that Arch threw so many damn deep balls, not just because he's good at it, but because Sark wanted him to throw that many deep balls, because it becomes a teachable moment on the failures. Like, Sark even said it in his press conference. When he looked back at the game script, it had too many deep plays. And Arch took it like that's what Arch wants to throw anyway. So he's like, let's go, coach. But through the bad deep balls, through the interception on the first drive, through the other ones, when you go back and watch the tape and you see the running back flared out open, that's the play that Quinn takes. and everybody gets on him. He can't throw the deep ball. He won't do that. Because he's going to take a 15-yard completion every single time, move the sticks, and keep going. And that's maturation.
It is the Outsiders. If you want to jump in the Specs chat, we're crawling up towards 500 folks in there tonight. We do appreciate you, and we certainly appreciate Specs. Until October 5th, they have the whiskey sale going on. Are you out of brown water? Pay attention.
Specs for our whiskey sale and enjoy the lowest prices on Texas' largest selection of whiskey. But hurry, these deals won't last long. Specs, cheers to savings.
All right, so Bo, let's make sure we clarify the deep ball theory of tonight. The conspiracy theory is that Steve Sarkisian purposely put tons of deep shots in there because he knew Arch Manning wouldn't hit them all, and therefore it would make Quinn look better. That was the idea?
It had nothing to do with Quinn. It had to do with Arch.
If
you read everything, they brought Arch here to learn how to play the quarterback position. Well, what is it? Based on how he performs on the field, what does it seem to be his Arch's favorite throw? Anything over 40 yards over the middle. He loves letting it rip.
He digs a deep ball, yeah.
He's got a cannon for an arm, and up until now, he's never gone at any level against guys that can stop him. When he's got elite weapons like Isaiah Bond and Jonte Cook and Ryan Wingo, he doesn't see the
Jadon Blue.
Well, Jadon Blue, yes.
Oh, Jadon.
But you get what I'm saying is when you have a wild horse, you have to rein them in. Well, part of Sark. What game can you let Arch get away with making a couple errors to coach out of those errors? Then ULM. The same thing's going to potentially happen against Mississippi State if Quinn doesn't go. And let's all say, Quinn, you don't need to go this week. Save it for Oklahoma. The last time you sat out before Oklahoma, we won 49-0. So we'll take that again. Get healthy, get ready, because the Oklahoma-Georgia stretch is much more important than Mississippi State in a bye. Okay, so but my theory is that Sark wanted Arch not because of the Quinn thing or not because of the media or any of that, but in his teaching Arch how to play the position, it's not all going to be perfect. Like everything's not set up on a tee. So maybe there were some plays where Arch was going to have to make. He was showing him the eye candy to where Arch saw what he wanted to see and threw it. So then they could go into film this week and be like, "Did you see this route that was shorter and was the design of the play?" Just because it breaks deep doesn't mean you have to go there, because I promise you, if Arch was the starting quarterback against Georgia or in later games, if you don't think a guy like Kirby Smart is drooling at the fact of, okay, Arch, you like to go deep? We're going to run some different coverages where you think it's covered to, and all of a sudden it's a cloud. And you're going to, we have the athletes where our linebackers are actually going to just drop straight back and right into your throwing lanes. Like, they will do things to confuse him. I think this was teaching. I think this is what he wanted to happen. And if Arch hit them all, hey, win-win. We win 77-0 instead of 51-3.
We got a super chat that just came in. But, Jason, I can't resist. Bo just said, put it on a tee. Let's put it on a tee for you. Tell the kids about
the golf club at Star Ranch. It's my favorite golf course in all of Central Texas. I miss you so much, Star Ranch. I haven't been there in like 3-4 weeks. I don't know what is time. But it is the best place to play because it is always in such unbelievable condition. Even when it's 1,000,000 degrees outside, the fairways are lush, the greens are running true. And in the wintertime, when a lot of places are they're letting their stuff die, Star Ranch has everything perfectly taken care of, and it's a golf course that's fun. It is for people like me, I like to say not so challenging, but if you are a good golfer, what do we say on this program? Birdie is available. Eagle is available, and it's a great place to set up a tournament. If you're looking to do a charity tournament or set up a tournament, we've done so many there, and it's just a great hang. It's a great place, and if you love the game of golf like I do, it's the place that I always choose to play. And if you want to set up a tee time, you can call 252-GOLF, or you can scan that QR code right there. It's the golf club at Star Ranch.
Hope everybody's having a good Monday, and shout out to Star Ranch and the other great partners we got around here. Let's see if we can get everybody situated. There we go. We did have a super chat roll in from our guy Oscar on the 40, $4.99. Deep balls are fun, but even my high school quarterback coach would tell. Easy completions are where you make a living. Deep balls are just your yearly bonuses. Oscar, that's an interesting way to look at it. And Bo, you made a reference similar to what I was talking about last week. I called last week the Dixie Chicks game, or the Chicks game, if you will. Wide open spaces, room to make a big mistake. I figured Arch would make at least one, maybe two. The tipped interception, I mentioned that last week, and one could get tipped, or you could, and you just sort of felt it that it might show up because Arch is perfect. And then he's able to bounce back immediately and make some really good throws as well. But the thing with Arch is, as specialized as he is, as unicorn as he is, he's also a quarterback. And early on, all quarterbacks have one major blind spot. They don't see the middle of the field, ever. They never see it. They don't see tight ends. I heard somebody this week say, man, Gunnar Helm must hate playing with Arch. He'll love it at one point, but he's not going to love it right away. They don't see the middle of the field. They don't see short to mid-range. That's where Quinn has gotten to. If you could combine the two of them, you'd have an amazing quarterback. But he's calling those plays, and the other key, Bo, is he wants to please his coach. That's the other thing. When the play is called, then Arch is going to take that shot. And now Sark's got to teach him to be like, wait a minute, called that shot, but if it's not immediately there or you don't feel that it's there, here's option 2 and option 3. And like you said, Bo, see that guy running wide open by himself? Yeah, his name is Gunnar. And if you throw it to him, he'll run another 50 yards after that. So it's just all a part of the process. They couldn't have timed it any better to have all that happen against ULM.
Well, and I'm going to butcher this expression because people like to make fun of the things I butcher, but every boxer has a plan until they get punched right in the mouth. Mm-hmm. Well, every quarterback thinks they can hit every throw until they get picked off or until it doesn't work out, and that's how you learn. Guess what? There are plenty of quarterbacks that think deep ball, and then come short early in their careers that learn how to run an offense. And there's this label of game manager or whatever. Well, the best quarterback in the history of the game was a game manager. That doesn't mean Tom Brady couldn't throw a deep ball. It means that was his last option. Tom Brady would rather surgically cut you up across the field by using his possession receivers and using the offense to move the sticks rhythmically. And that's what Sark's offense does. So Arch has to learn to do that, which is part of the reason why the Manning family wanted him with Sarkisian. Because every stop along the way, Sark has proven that he can run an offense, not just big plays. Just like in the game prior. Wingo caught a 75-yard pass. The cornerback fell down. Okay, that doesn't mean Arch didn't throw a beautiful ball and Wingo didn't run under it, but it was a blown coverage. That doesn't make him a Heisman candidate. And that's where I told everybody just slow down a little bit. Like I said, they had a whole thing on ESPN where Arch was 10-1 to win the Heisman. He played one half. And you realize Arch get ahead of Jackson Dart, who's thrown for 1,500 yards at this point.
Well, and also
you got top 10 team.
You guys saw it. He's got enough attempts now. He's like top 5 in efficiency right now. Arch is. He's like 3 or 4.
That QBR rating that's giving him bonus points for the deep balls.
Exactly. It gives you
completion percentage. Let's be real. I'm an Arch guy, but they were playing ULM and he barely completed 50% of his passes, as most young quarterbacks do. It's okay, but maybe the reason he only completed 50% was because half of them he was thrown at 40 yards down the damn field.
Yeah, I also thought a key in the game was 2 guys that ended up playing that some thought might not play: Jadon Blue, and Kelvin Banks. For both those guys to play, I think ended up being an important part of the game. Plus another name, guys, and I know the deep ball didn't happen technically, but good God, Phil says, of course, there's always the Silas Bolden catch that never was. I know he didn't get credit for that second one technically, but fellas, Silas Bolden laying out for those 2 was pretty amazing.
Texas has the second or first best receiving core, depending on how you want to look at it. Ohio State can throw a real claim at it, especially at the top of the ticket.
Mhm.
But Texas has wide receiver depth for days. And if you don't think there's a reason, and yes, money plays a part in it, but there were plenty of schools throwing money. If you don't think there's a reason Isaiah Bond left Alabama to come to Texas, you're seeing it every single week with Quinn Ewers and now with Arch. He wanted to be showcased by quarterbacks that could hit him in the hands and weren't just guys that could run around and make plays like Jalen Milroe. It's why Matthew Golden left to come here. It's why Silas Bolden left, because he saw what DJ Ukulele was and goes, wait, there's way better up the road. I'm going to go there. Even if I'm only going to play half the snaps, I'd rather make plays for half the snaps than half the time when I'm wide open, the ball hits me in the back. You know, like there's something to be said for accuracy and good quarterback play. And Texas, I don't think this is a one-year proposition. I think this is laying the groundwork for a long-term progression where Texas will be a place quarterbacks want to come work with Sarkisian. Milwee, too, who deserves more credit than he gets because everybody just assumes it's Sarkisian, but Milwee's been there for a very long time with Sarkisian. It's working. There's a reason every quarterback Sark coaches ends up being an NFL quarterback, and some of them weren't big names. I mean, Matt Castle, Jake Locker, like all these guys end up being – Matt Castle never even played a down of college football in real time and ended up being an NFL starter. If you don't think part of that is because of Sarkisian's coaching, then you're crazy.
Okay. I promise to make a real point in a second or on Wednesday or like in a couple of weeks. But like a million things to unpack. I am sick that I missed a Chad Hastings Dixie Chicks reference. That is heartbreaking to me. They're high school quarterback coaches. All right. At my high school, Bo, you know, we had 3 health teachers who just led the team to 2-7 every year. All right. I was at a match.
Round Rock High was a baseball school, so we're just going to let it go.
Yeah. I was at a Matt Castle Cowboys game one time. It was a GD nightmare for me. All right. But the point that I would make is that, I think I said on this show the last time I was here, 40 days ago, is that no Texas receiver is going to have 10 receptions in a game this year. And I believe in this game that they won 59-3. Silas Bolden led the team in receptions with 3. All right. It's because they are so unbelievably deep at the position. Like there's never going to be, and I don't know, who knows if they get into a big shootout, maybe Isaiah Bond or Wingo or one of these guys, it has to be the guy who catches fire. But there's just so many guys on this roster that at that position, they are so unbelievably deep. It's unbelievable.
Well, and that's not even mentioning the depth at tight end. I mean, you talk about the receiving room with Bond and Wingo and Golden and Cook and Bolden and DeAndre Moore. Gunnar Helm is going to be a day 2 draft pick in the NFL unless Arch stays a starter and doesn't throw to him. But as soon as Quinn is back, Gunnar Helm will be a vital part of the offense again. And let's talk about Juan Davis. Juan Davis is making plays, and he's blocking better. He's the next guy. When Gunnar Helm goes to the NFL, Juan Davis hangs around another year, and he's an NFL pick. There will be a lineage, from Sanders to Gunnar Helm to Juan Davis, and then you'll see this is how successful programs develop. This is how great coaches develop. It's not just 1-year aberrations. They take their lumps early, 5-7. Everybody questioning whether the coach is even the right guy for the job. Then they get a little bit of success, and then next thing you know, everybody buys in. The players buy in. The best recruiters for the University of Texas right now aren't the coaches, it's the players. I mean, when the recruits come in and they talk to guys that are about to be on NFL rosters and like, oh, I got so much better because of Sark. When guys like Jordan Whittington make videos and put articles on the Players Tribune about how he was going to quit the game due to injury, but because of the coaching of Sark and his teammates, he decided to go one more time, and now he's on an NFL roster, and about to buy a house for his mom. You know, like those stories resonate. And that will, like, doesn't mean a program can't go off track, because you're always one bad quarterback and one bad year from things going off the rails. But right now, Sark has this, irrelevant of what happens between Texas and Georgia, the program is on the right track. Like, one loss isn't going to derail this team like it did some of the other teams in our tenure, Jason, where the last 15 years we've been beaten down like, you know, rabid dogs or whatever. But like, one loss isn't going to make the spiral out of control anymore. You're not going to have fights in the locker room between recruits and players. Like, none of that stuff happens in programs that are built methodically with every coach talks about culture. Sark has actually built one here at Texas.
If you guys want to jump in the chat, feel free. There's a lot of good stuff coming in tonight. We will get that. Chris Bennett, simple question. Did you see what shirt Colt was wearing on Saturday? Heck yeah, we did, Chris Bennett. Right there on the sideline. He drove that bad boy right up there. This is what they didn't show you. This is right before he did that interview, but he was rocking that poncho shirt. Absolutely.
That does not look close to the stadium. All right. That scenery.
Are you kidding? That's Sandjack. You don't recognize that? That's right there.
That's Waller Creek. It's just missing a couple of homeless people.
That's 26th and Sandjack. You don't recognize that spot? Come on, man. What are you talking about?
I think I got him on that one.
That was good. Very good. Well done. Well done. And Chris Bennett also brings this up, gentlemen. He says it's the deepest team since the early to mid 2000s. I know I've heard a lot of comments, guys, this week about this team. How good does it feel right now? And could this be the best team since 05? And you see it, you hear it compared to 05, and I don't hear a lot of laughter, after that, because this team does look like they're pretty badass right now. I want to ask you guys, I could lay out all the good, but I think we all know what is going good, what's going well right now for Texas football. As you get ready to head into the SEC officially this week, you know how the schedule lays out. You also know who's on your schedule. You know how those teams have played so far this year. Get any concern, any nervousness, what are your, it doesn't even have to be a negative. It could be a complete positive. Like, your feel right now headed into the SEC, because y'all heard about it in 2021. You're now 5 days away from officially an SEC team. You got 8 games to go. You don't have a little November pillow. You're not playing Western Carolina in November. You're about to play 8 straight in the SEC. Give me your feeling. What's the overall feeling? Is there any nervousness? Is it just get out of the way? Is it national championship tattoos? What is it, Bo?
Well, one, we play Vanderbilt in November, so that's our SEC pillow, if you will.
You know
they
what?
Picked it up. That's not the old Vandy.
Tell you that's not true.
They had one good game. That's the old Vandy. They just jumped up and got somebody.
Okay.
But yes, there's concerns, because what you don't know, and what we will only find out after 8 games, and this is SEC specific, but also just football in general specific, how will the injuries affect the University of Texas? That's the one thing that culture can't control. It can control that the guy behind you is ready to play, but there are certain positions that Texas doesn't have a second. Kelvin Banks gets hurt. That is a huge problem. And you can come at me with all the Trevor Gouldsby is going to be an NFL guy or anything of that nature. That's fine. He doesn't have the game reps to be ready to face Georgia DNs, or honestly, Texas A&M DNs. Or that's just not very right, because A&M, they handled their business against Bowling Green. I mean, you didn't realize Bowling Green is a really good
this
team.
like attitude coming out of Chad Gibson here, November pillow. Man, terrible.
Well, I'll say this: if they have one more injury at quarterback, it will be a November pillow, because they are in trouble if anything else happens in that quarterback room.
Well, that's the other part of it. Again, that's why I brought up like the full, story of it, Jason, because there were games that you thought could be a test for Texas, if not a loss for Texas. It was going to be about, well, what if Michigan? Nope. Well, yeah, but the Oklahoma, and it's feeling like, no, this really isn't one of those Oklahoma teams. And then it's a long way till November and A&M, and maybe it's a long way till Fayetteville. But and then you see Georgia fight Kentucky to a 13-12 game. And I hear people reading that as, well, Georgia's not that good. That offense isn't dynamic enough. And maybe they can't come to Austin and what. So
there will be 2 or 3 games this year that are decided by less than a touchdown. We're going to play real football teams. We haven't played them in a while. Michigan, based on what they did to USC, maybe everybody getting over their skis that Michigan was just god awful and Texas just exposed them. Well, that defense is real because they made Miller Moss and USC
incredible.
USC had no answer for that defense.
Yeah. By the way, for the record, Bo, that's the game you and I predicted was going to happen when Texas played at Michigan.
That's exactly the game.
My score was dead on at a certain point, and yours was damn close.
What a win.
We just missed it by a couple of weeks.
But that's what I anticipated in Michigan. Grass slow, but Sark and Quinn Ewers worked together on a game plan that, as it was happening, I was screaming at the TV, "Stop throwing screen passes!" But then you saw it all play out, and the genius of it. Those defensive tackles were tired as hell, at midway through the second quarter because they had to run side to side so much for the screens. Even though they weren't turning into huge plays, it was like a boxer taking a bunch of, shots to the midsection in the first, second, and third rounds. And by the fourth, all they want to do is throw up in the bucket. Well, that's where Michigan's defensive front was at. And they didn't have any depth. And I consider myself a pretty knowledgeable football guy, X's and O's wise, and I didn't see the strategy as it was happening. And then as you saw it play out, you're like, holy shit, that's why he's Goodwill Hunting, and I'm the guy that would actually be cleaning the freaking floors.
To answer your question, Chad, I could not be more unbelievably impressed with this team. As I've said several times already, I think they've played 4 perfect football games, and I will not, unless something drastic happens, be picking against them again. I said earlier that I thought that Georgia would beat Texas in Austin, and I am going to pick Texas. As far as heading into SEC play, we are, as we mentioned, a 38.5 point favorite this week. So it just means more, man. But as Bo pointed out, yes, there are obvious concerns. Because you never know what can happen. Like I mentioned earlier, the lunacy of what's happened so far in the NFL season. And I kind of have a rule. I'm like, hey, I don't judge any of these teams on September. All right. But yeah, injuries happen. All right. We have a quarterback who for 3 years in a row has had some sort of issue that has taken him out for several games. He's got an abdominal thing. Quinn, I got you, dog. I got you. But so, yeah, I'm going to pick Texas in every game for the rest of the season, but anything could happen. So no, the idea that this team is just rolling to 12-0 or 14-0 or 15, whatever, however many games it takes to win it all, is something you should definitely have concerns about. That's not any sort of guarantee.
Yeah, well, and the beauty of it now is you got some leeway. You got a real playoff system where you don't have to be perfect. And even if there is a slip up somewhere, and I'm not going to say a loss to Georgia would be a slip up, because I still think they're a damn good football team. We're going to really find out this weekend, Georgia at Bama. So you're going to start to really learn some things.
Yeah, think about what you just said, Chad. Georgia plays Bama this week.
Mm-hmm.
If that game ends up 31-27, does that not mean both of those, is one of those teams bad? No, it just means 2 Warriors, 2 champion caliber teams fought, and we'll see them both again in the playoffs. And that's the type of thing that could happen when Texas plays Georgia in a couple, in October.
Yeah.
Whoever loses that game isn't bad. And it's not an indoctrination. It's just a loss.
And that's where, again, if I'm going back to a comparison, if you want to try to make a little comparison with 05, you realize the whole regular season, the 05 team had 1 score game, and everybody knows it was in Columbus, but they had no problem being in that game. By the time once they were in it, they were so comfortable in it. They'd been comfortable in the Michigan Rose Bowl the year before, the previous team had. And this team just needs to prove that it's comfortable in a 1-2 score kind of game like they did in Tuscaloosa last year. They just haven't played anybody that can press them, fellas. Like in all 4 of these games so far, the opposing team could have scored 3 straight touchdowns in the third quarter, and none of them would have taken a lead. None of them would have. It's been that kind of just wearing people out so far for Texas, and we just need to see if anybody is ready to give them a real football game. I think they're ready to. I think they're ready to win it, Bo. I just don't know if anybody's ready to bring them one.
Well, and once again, this goes back to why I say Quinn is the leader of this football team. Quinn has had some of those tough losses. Quinn has had to walk off the field like Oklahoma last year when, by all accounts, Oklahoma was kicking the crap out of us. And all of a sudden, Quinn Ewers had one of the best fourth quarters in the history of the rivalry and brought Texas back to have the lead, only to have Drake Stoops. And I don't know, the defense just decided that their little Oompa Loompa should get 75 yards in 4 plays with no clock stops. And there you go.
I had blocked that out of my mind, by the way. Thank you for bringing that back.
All the Texas fans,
I had forgotten all of that.
Thank you so much.
Hopefully it doesn't happen with Oklahoma again. Thank the Lord. But God, if we go to Fayetteville and that's a loss, say we beat Georgia and everything's rolling and we go up to Fayetteville and it just goes weird. Quinn gets hurt for a series or 2, or Jadon Blue gets hurt and the other guys, anything can happen. It doesn't change the season. Get to the SEC championship game and then the season really starts. That's the goal. The goal is get to the SEC championship game, because if you win that one, you just ratchet it up. That's like a playoff game, because by winning that game and winning the SEC title, you're now a top 4 seed and you get a bye. So that is a de facto playoff game. That is the beginning of the playoffs for Texas. And this team has proven they are good enough to make that game. That's all you want. Now just keep getting better. And what I love is Sark is getting these young guys reps. Like, this isn't Mac Brown football where you follow the code in the book, where the starters stay in until halfway through the third quarter, and then we put in but we don't run it. No, he brings guys in pivotal moments, and he actually gives them plays. Yeah. I will butcher his name until I'm just going to call him the Lion, because he's awesome. And the Lion is playing real snaps. He is, it's Anthony Hill's job. We get that. But the Lion is in there, and the Lion makes plays.
If you want to jump in with a super chat, somebody was asking if the super chats are working. We did get a super chat earlier in the show. So if you want to throw a super chat in, we will get right to that. Also, let's give a little love to Last Stand hats. There it is. And I didn't mean to cover Jason's face with them, but I should.
That's okay.
Last Stand hats. It's okay. Last Stand hats is the place. We got this one here, right? We got your Outsiders hat, right? Look at that. Outsiders. That's right. There are 12 different color designs of that. But look what else. Look what else I decided to do for you tonight. Huh? Look at this. Look at this right here. We are going to show you. We tell you about all the different types. I'm going to show you all the different types. Look at this. Different universities, right? You kind of know that one on top, all gas, no brakes. You want an all gas, no brakes hat? There it is right there. How about North Texas? You mean green crazies? Oh, a little north of the border, a little Oklahoma State, maybe a little Rice. How about SMU? Huh? Daddy's money? Huh? Little powder? You got it? Little Sam Houston right there. Team they used to play, SFA, my wife's school. Nice SFA hat there. Got a shirt too if you need it. Little TCU, little Texas Tech. Look at that. Little Texas State, Tarleton, all those different choices for you. By the way, you can scroll as far as you want. You're not going to see the place where I went to school. That's a whole nother deal. It is Last Stand hats. Bo's got some Last Stand hats he's showing off there at his place as well. Check out Last Stand hat, the true fans brand. Outsiders 10 is your code. Get yourself some Last Stand hats. And again, if you want to jump in with a super chat, it will go right to the top of the list. We mentioned Sark a little bit earlier in some of his comments. Just to clarify for everybody, as we are here on a Monday night, and obviously we'll have a Wednesday night show as well, Sark mentioned that Quinn is questionable for the game against Mississippi State. He said last week he was going to be questionable, and he is. But somebody was watching that video we put up, and the video of him firing everybody up, saying that he was kind of raising the arm and maybe the oblique looked good. From what I'm understanding, fellas, if last week had been Oklahoma or Georgia, Quinn would have gutted it out. Quinn would have played that game and would have been able to, make it work. But Sark decides to sit him for ULM. Bo, you made the reference earlier to now, does he sit him one more week? This is fascinating for me to watch because I can make the argument both ways. You're going to get the week off before OU anyway. Do you want to get a little timing back, knock some rust off, and have him dial it up against Mississippi State? It would be a little bit of a more physical team than they've played, even though they might not be awesome because they're not, but little more physical, little more SEC-like than what they faced. Or do you go ahead and give him 2 full weeks and let Arch have some more reps? Bo, I'll start with you. Give me your gut tonight if Sark called you and said, what should I do?
Okay, my gut is there's too much to risk by sending Quinn out there. Yes, it is a pain management issue. And yes, he could take the needle. He could do any number of things. We talked about this isn't about Mississippi State. If Mississippi State was top 20 Mississippi State, then yes, you need Quinn to play and you need to do these things. Quinn isn't worried about Arch taking his job. Quinn doesn't need to worry about it. Quinn is still – this isn't about Heisman Trophy stats. This is about winning a championship. It is much better for Quinn's injury to fully heal and him going to OU. This isn't his first rodeo. He knows how to play quarterback. He'll get plenty of reps next week against R1s where that's fine. He's going to get better competition in our practices than he's going to get against Mississippi State. But what you could happen against Mississippi State is look at the scruples. Look at who their coach is. Look at what he condones. You don't think there's a chance one of his players down 28-3 decides to take a shot, decides to take a dirty hit, even if he gets, a flag? Teams coached by dirtbags act like dirtbags. And I don't trust that a Jeff Levy team, that his players won't go into the gray area and act like turds. So I'd rather keep our quarterback away from the fray.
This just in, Jeff Levy will not be the Wednesday night guest on The Outsiders this week. Jason Dick, Sark calls you up and asks you what he should do and what he should do at quarterback. What do you think?
I agree 100% with everything Bo said, although I'm not sure about this game versus R1s. Like, I was pretty familiar with the schedule. I'm going to have to look this up because apparently next week we're playing the R1s. I don't know that team. But no, I would say there's like a almost 0% chance that Quinn would play this game. And not just because you want to protect him, because you want to make him healthy, because of the big picture of the program, which is what we talked about at the start of the show, which it is super valuable for Arch to get these reps right now, okay? Versus a team that maybe is a real football team. But I think it's just so much better. Look, we could run my guy Bo Edge out there at quarterback and beat Mississippi State. So what is the point of playing Quinn Ewers? All right, there's no point in putting him out there right now. And so they'll wait another 2 weeks.
Well,
yeah,
I don't know. By playing this game, Arch can learn one of the mistakes he made multiple times over the last 2 weeks, which is not recognizing the backside blitz, not calling to his hot read, and getting blown up in the backfield. Maybe he can learn that against Mississippi State when they try to, they're not stupid. They're going to see what Arch's deficiencies are, and they're going to try to game plan to it. Well, one of his biggest deficiencies so far is he hasn't recognized things coming off his blind side when they creep up into it, and he doesn't get rid of the ball very fast, and it can be a problem. This is the type of game to get Arch those reps. And we have a chatter, Jack, who says that Arch can get those in the second half. He doesn't need to start. Well, getting reps in the second half against the B team for the other team isn't doing you any good. The reps only matter if they're quality reps. Like coming in the third quarter of a blowout and handing it off 17 times doesn't – yes, he took 20 snaps as a quarterback. No, it doesn't matter. Like those aren't pressures. Like you need it when there's something on the line. Right. You need it when your job is to recognize the blitz. Your job is to basically carve up the defense to where you spend a whole week studying the tape and working with the coaches, and then you see it and recognize it. So your confidence grows. We talked about how Quinn has matured in his confidence level. Part of that is seeing going through the coaching with Milwee and Sark, and then seeing it happen on game day where he's sitting back there going, hey, that guy's about to blitz. Check. And then he hits the tight end, and it's a 15-yard play instead of a sack in the backfield. Arch needs to have those successes. And this is Chad, you've been in the SEC as an Aggie fan for 10 years. How many times is it set up on your schedule where you get a home game against a cakewalk SEC team? Doesn't happen very often.
No, I mean, look, you're asking the wrong guy. For 12 seasons, it's been a little different in terms of what A&M's been dealing with.
I'm talking about just from an overall – like Alabama doesn't get many of those. Georgia doesn't get many of those.
If it was Ole Miss this week, you would play Quinn Ewers, okay? If it was Tennessee or Oklahoma, or if it was Vandy,
back when they had Dak Prescott at quarterback, we'd be starting Quinn.
My thing, the simplicity for me would just be, it's really simple. It's like the easiest reason for why Quinn Ewers should play is if he's healthy, it's his football team.
100%.
That's it. If he's ready to go and he wants to play. And the other thing you could do, you could use it as an opportunity to say, if he plays for half a quarter and something's up, you can yank him and you get that rest before OU. But if you get him all the way to Dallas and he realizes halfway through that first quarter something's up, well, now you're stuck in that game followed by Georgia. Maybe this is the time to,
in Sark, I trust. If Sark wants to play him for a quarter and a half and let him get some, live game reps, fine. Quinn isn't a freshman. Quinn has been in the program. Quinn has played big games. Like I said, and I will keep going back to this. He got hurt against Alabama a couple years ago and sat out all the way until Oklahoma. How did that one turn out when everybody thought he needed more reps or he needed to see things or he needed to mature? It was 49 to freaking nothing.
Yeah, Bo, you brought that up a lot. You really think the time sitting before the game was critical somehow to that day?
I think being healthy was critical for that game. I think when it was a clavicle injury, rushing back from it, then it becomes the kind of injury that's there for the entire season.
Right.
Like, this isn't about one game. I'm in the Jason camp. I don't have ab muscles, so I don't know what pulling one would feel like.
Okay.
But I guarantee you that it's the type of injury that how many times do you see this story play out in professional athletics? Guy tries to rush back a muscle injury. And if you're a fantasy football player, you've done this dance a million times over. He's questionable. And then he plays a little. And then the next week he's questionable. And the next week he's questionable. And then in week 6, he's out because now they have to sit him, because most guys in that type of situation, the injury lingers. We have a unique opportunity where we don't have – Mississippi State is not a real opponent. And if we make it a real game, that's on our players. We are 38-point favorites for a reason. Our talent is better than their talent. So, period. Rest our number one for the games that matter. Oklahoma and Georgia in a 2-week stretch. That matters more than getting reps. Like I said, they run ones-on-ones at Texas practice on Tuesdays. Quinn will go up against a much stouter defense on Tuesdays against our guys than he ever will against what Mississippi State's throwing out there. The difference is our guys aren't going to try to injure him.
Yeah, I got something I think Jason will enjoy here. I don't care who the quarterback is. Handing the ball off might be a good idea this week. 123rd in the country, the rush defense for Mississippi State. 123. They don't rank that many more than that. 123. It's like 10 more, I think. 111 in total defense for Mississippi State. So this should be, hate to use the S word on a Monday night, should be a team Texas can handle. So far, Mississippi State has looked like that. So maybe it doesn't matter who plays quarterback for Texas in this game. We'll see. As of today, questionable. And remember, we're sitting here on a Monday. When we talk to you on Wednesday night during the Outsiders, history will have been made because the first injury report, they're going to call it a participation report. First injury report in SEC history will have occurred. And fellas, today, your head coach, Steve Sarkisian, said it out loud, said it so honestly. He said, well, we're doing this because of gambling. We're doing this because they were contacting too many of the SIDs and the strength staff and managers, and they're just trying to get it out there. That's why they're doing it. He actually referenced that today, which I thought was great. Good bit of honesty there. But by Wednesday night, we'll know what that report looks like. It'll probably say Quinn Ewers, questionable, and abdominal or upper body injury. Oblique, right? Something
abominable
like
would be bad if they say abominable.
Not abominable. No, abdominal.
Abdominal. Okay.
Abdominal is what I was trying to say. Andrew with a $10 super chat. In Sark I Trust was worth $10. Going to print up shirts now. There you go, Andrew. Yeah.
Rock and roll. Hey, we've been doing this show long enough. Nobody was a bigger Sark proponent than me in our little sphere. Would y'all at least give me that?
I mean, that's fair. I think you've been a fan of Sark's for a while. Yeah.
Like I've been a fan of Sark since before he got to the University of Texas. I was a fan of Sark many, many years ago. He's an offensive savant. He just is. So when I say in Sark, I trust that he's going to have the game plan. And I trust that if Sark wants to play Quinn, Sark is smarter than me about what he wants to do with it. But if Sark sits Quinn, I got no issue with it. Like
Well, the other thing, Bo, I think the logic for what you're talking about, if it happens that way, if they run Quinn through a little bit and they realize, it's still a little, it's tweaking a little. Let's give it that extra, again, 2 weeks. Let's get that off time before OU. The other thing is, I think it would be educational for everybody, especially Arch, if you immediately see him get back in the saddle this week. After everything they went through last week, whatever it was, right? Did we take too many deep shots? Did you just not read the deep shot plays correctly? Blah, blah, whatever it was. And it, wasn't a day he wants to have. He wants to have a lot more efficient day and a better day. Do you want to go ahead and re-rack that immediately, let Quinn get absolutely healthy, and assume you're going to rock and roll Mississippi State either way? So I get that logic. And then, Jason, you get to see your guy again, start another game, crowd gets to pop again. That's another thing. You're at home. Look, rather than have Arch have to worry about a road environment, you're at home. The rowdies will go crazy. Quinn's done the Dallas thing, and like Bo said, he's done the Dallas thing and thrashed him doing it. Quinn will be cool for the road stuff. Give Arch one more home game, let the folks love on him, and let him face the 111th total defense in America.
Right. By the way, 24 carries for my guy, Jadon Blue, last week. 24 carries. Yeah. I'm like, what is this, 1977?
Hey, he might get 34 this week.
Yeah.
He handed him the ball.
Tremendous. But look, I love that my reputation is now that he's my guy, that Arch Manning is my guy. Like, I am in the same camp as most smart people in that Quinn Ewers, when he is ready, should take over the team. He should be back in charge of the team. Now, are we playing possibly the second best quarterback on the team, second most talented quarterback on the team if Quinn Ewers takes over? Yeah, but I'm fine with that because the second most talented quarterback on our team is probably the second most talented quarterback in all of college football. So I don't think it matters a lot. And if the kid is not healthy and is hurt, then play the other kid. All right. It doesn't matter which one is which. If one of them is healthier than the other one, play the healthier one.
Well, and here's the other thing, Jason and Bo, you tell me if you disagree. Obviously, I am what this show is called in this discussion. I'm an outsider. Third-party opinion here. To these eyes, the key, Jason, to why you play number 3, take whatever the pure talent discussion you're having out. I think he makes your football team better. And ultimately, Bo, I think that's what the point should be. I think number 3 taking snaps makes this a better football team. Do you agree?
If he's healthy, 100%.
Yeah, right.
If Quinn is 70%, I'd rather see Quinn sit another week and let Arch get some real game reps and some real game prep for an SEC opponent to make us potentially better later in the year if Quinn goes down again, or next year to where Arch has that time go. Like we talked about it with Chance. There is no better time to learn than when the QB, his coach, and the QB coach and the OC are in a room going through the game plan for the week, and the QB's getting to say what looks he likes and why. The coaches learn a hell of a lot more in those discussions than they do in spring ball, summer ball. There are competitions going on and other things. This is one-on-one time between coach and his guy, and Arch is getting the unique opportunity to do that for 2 weeks and learn how those conversations go to where he gains his voice. Go talk to quarterbacks the first time. They don't always say what they really want to say. They say what they think the coach wants to hear. Like, oh, I know, like Chance's elite, talked about this, how with Mac and Greg, there was a lot more outbreaking routes, and Chance loved to throw slants and posts over the middle. That was the ball he saw the best, when he saw the defense, he could see it better that way. And it wasn't until after a couple of games where he started saying, hey, maybe we can run Roy this way instead of that way because I like that throw better, and I'm the one that's going to have to throw it in crunch time. Well, that's what you want to see from Arch. If Quinn's 100% healthy, It's not a question. This isn't one of those, oh, well, they're not a good team, so we're not going to start our best guys because injury could happen. No, this is a muscle strain injury where there's one person in the world that knows how it's actually affecting him right now, and it's Quinn Ewers. If Quinn says he's not ready, then don't even try it just to get reps or because we have big games in 3 weeks. No, get him 100% healthy, and that elicits better results.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good way to look at it. We'll see what they do.
No, I am not the professor from Key and Peele. I just don't speak very well sometimes.
Fantastic. Fantastic. All right.
I'm not a names guy, okay?
What kind of guy are you? You're not a names guy? What kind of guy are you?
You know what? I'll tell you what kind of guy he is. He's a Texas hitching truck guy. We believe you can tell him, Bo. You can talk about Texas hitching truck. Tell him.
Texas hitching truck. It's kind of hard to get to right now because of all the construction on 183 that feels like it's been going on for the last 15 years of our life. But Texas hitching truck, the original location on 183, they have one down in South off Ben White, and they have one in San Antonio. That's where you take your truck when you want it outfitted properly. Whatever it is you need, tires, rims, bed liners, brush guards. They have these new kits now you put in the back of your tailgate if you're a construction guy that has all kinds of drawers and locks. They can do whatever you need at Texas Hitching Truck at a fraction of the cost you're going to pay sometimes at the dealership when you get the souped up version. No, buy the original version. Take it to Texas Hitch. Let them outfit you properly with high quality parts. Trust me, I can't tell you the number of Texas players that in my time in radio and whatever reached out to Chance, myself, JD, everybody. Hey, where do we go get this car or truck accessorized? Every single time it was Texas Hitching Truck, and every single time they were very happy. Texas Hitching Truck right there on 183. Scan the QR code.
All right, there you have it. Little Texas hitch and truck. And again, with no chance mock tonight, Mock 5 will be back on Wednesday, and we will discuss the random shots fired on game day.
Reese Davis
for Chance
is no longer a friend of the Outsiders.
I really wish I hadn't taken it off my DVR. I record it every week, but I got back home. I'd seen the picks already. I was away from the house when the picks were made. And then I get back home, I watch the intro, and then I thought, well, they're at Oklahoma. I'm not watching that whole show. I'm not watching the little vignettes when they're at Oklahoma and interviews and stuff. So I just deleted it. I had no idea Reese Davis went after Chance.
Hold on. Just text Chance. He has it because Chance wasn't watching game day, but his brother was. And Trevor had that thing clipped, edited, and sent to Chance within 4 minutes of it happening.
That is brutal, man.
What a brother. What a brother.
It was like a conversation about Chance and Vince Young. Reese Davis called Chance an intramural quarterback straight out of the Sigma Chi frat house.
Yeah, that's just brutal.
Well,
yeah, I mean, I would agree. I agree with him when he says it's not Chance and Vince Young, but not for the reason he's saying. Like there are other reasons why he might be right, but that's just that is complete ignorance.
Conversation.
That is a complete ignorance of the first half of that discussion. That's insane. That's absolutely insane.
Well, like I said,
yeah, we will get to that.
Reese Davis, you are not an outsider. Outsider Nation shuns you, Reese Davis.
Man,
I would just like to say if we can get Reese Davis on the show Wednesday, we should have him. Okay.
Oh yeah, if you got that hookup, go for it.
Yeah,
I'm all for it. But
yeah,
I'm just gonna say, next time game day comes, and anybody that knows me knows I ain't going down there early. I ain't getting a damn sign. Me and Chance may have to go be front row for game day with some Reese Davis comments. It'll be sandwich board heaven. We'll just keep writing new ones.
They should make Chance the picker when game day is here. He should be on the show. That is.
I mean,
Chance.
You can get Matthew McConaughey again. That would be great.
Chance couldn't get through that without swearing. He'd swear at Reese Davis on live television. It'd be great.
No, Chance has grown up. Chance isn't here tonight because he prioritized family over this show.
Yeah,
like, that wouldn't have happened 10 years ago.
Yeah, that is something. I need to go check that out. Caught more strays on game day than Michigan wide receivers caught passes. Yeah, it's true. That is true.
But like I said, he handled it in style with the tweet that tagged game day.
Man, that's just brutal. All right, before we get out of here, fellas, I did enjoy this one. Sill-ass Boulden. Yeah, he's a good receiver.
Hey, Sill-ass Boulden. I threw in a little Halloween reference for Trevor Goulds.
Trevor Gould.
No, it wasn't a Halloween reference. I just don't speak very well.
Ghouls speak. All right. So before we get out of here, do we, Jason? I know at some point you have a story for Outsider Nation. Do you want to tell it tonight, or do you want to wait till Chance is back on Wednesday and is fired up at Reese Davis? And do we just combine everything, or do you want to?
Either is fine. I have
Actually,
no problem. What?
Are you willing to tell the story twice? That's all that matters.
Yeah. Look,
if
anybody who has followed my career knows I will tell a story 25 times. Okay, I will tell a story until you've heard absolutely enough.
Okay.
But speaking of what did Bo say? I don't speak very well. I currently have a mouth injury. Please do not. I'm kind of self-conscious about it. So let's.
Wow. Do you want to hold a card in front of you like you're calling a play? Do you have something you can?
No close-ups. Okay. But yeah, the reason I was not here last week. Well, here, let me ask you. I specifically asked for no close-ups.
My finger slipped. There was a slip.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really? That's
Holy
funny
slip.
because slipping is an important part of this story. Here, do you want the TNT version?
I'll make you smaller. How about that?
Do you want the TNT version or the HBO version?
That's even scarier. My God. Let's go with the HBO version. I always want the HBO version.
Okay, good. I'll take out the profanities, but it will include violence.
Okay.
So I was not here because so first of all, I had COVID, which is apparently still a thing. Mm-hmm. And my brain wasn't working so very well. Not that it ever really works very well. But I slipped getting out of the tub. Slight brag. Sometimes I take a tub. And I slipped getting out of the tub, and I banged my face. I banged my mouth very, very, very hard.
Did you hit porcelain?
No. Actually, I'm not even positive. But it turns out your mouth is the worst part of your body to bang if you do this. All right.
Wow.
And
that's where you go to college, but continue.
You ask about the porcelain, but I'm not totally positive because I don't remember that part. I just remember waking up in a pool of blood. And like when I say a pool of blood, I don't mean like the pool that you would get at Walmart for your toddler to bobble around in. Okay. This is like a resort level pool of blood. And actually, maybe it's a good thing because I no longer believe that I could cover up a murder because I thought this was the amount of blood that came with a murder. Okay. but it was just the amount of blood that came from my stupid mouth. By the way, not somebody I would murder. Okay, whoever Bo murders, all right, I will obviously help him out of the situation. But yeah, I got up and I had a pretty good gash on my mouth and a lot of blood. And I still don't really feel like I'm talking correctly. Like my mouth has returned to its ability to enunciate. Not that I was ever great at talking correctly. But yeah, I cleaned it up. And according to the internet, the mouth is one of the most resilient parts of the body. So we're probably going to be fine.
Also depends on where you go to college.
Also, by the way, what a fun fact. The mouth is one of the most resilient parts of the body. Like, had I known that, I probably would have been tougher on my mouth.
Yeah, we present
other mouths.
We were just on an episode of like the Reading Rainbow or something. You just enlightened us with facts about the mouth.
I feel like
your dumbass slipping out of a bathtub.
I feel like we prove that every week on The Outsiders. We prove just how resilient the mouth can be. So, Jason, if you did not have all the facial hair right now, would we see like a scar like this? I'm assuming it's on the outside of your face.
Yeah. Again, I'm kind of self-conscious about it, but here you can,
because I can't see. Oh, I got you. Okay, so it was the lower part. Okay.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. I slashed open the middle of my mouth. And,
so overall, are you okay? Are you feeling like constant pain? Are you taking meds right now? Like, what's going on?
I'm not in pain. I'm not taking any meds.
Okay.
I will never be okay. All right, that's like pretty much.
Are you ever going to be able to have a bath again? Like, are you going to be able to have a tub again, or could you not go back to the tub?
I've learned no lessons because I took like a million more.
Did you really? So you don't have tub fear. You didn't have like
no
tub phobia that came from this.
No. And I'll tell you this. If you're gonna take Tylenol PM, which I don't enjoy, but when you have stupid COVID brain, like it's something that sometimes I have to do. I would take it after you get out of the tub. All right. But
the order is important sometimes. Yeah.
I also haven't learned that lesson because I've still taken it several times before a tub. So that's I've also never called it a tub until today. Is that a thing that people say?
Does it feel good? Because it feels like you're an old woman in the South in the 50s.
I'm just saying, we need to get you one of those life alert little necklaces for the next time you have a tub incident.
Yeah, hit the button on the way down, Jason, before you hit your face on whatever it was.
Our goal is to get successful enough that we get you a life alert deal, except for yours has 2 buttons. 1 for I've fallen, and 2, send in a female. And, it's just a win-win.
Man, damn, that is brutal.
Chris Bennett asked in the chat, did you have a concussion? And based on the way that my brain felt for the next several days, almost definitely yes. But I didn't have, what is that thing that you guys are all addicted to? Oh, insurance. So I did not check on that situation, but
fair enough.
Yeah. But anyways, that's why I was gone. So my apologies, and I'm glad that you guys had me back on the show.
Dude, glad you're
an outsider. Isn't that back? You're part of the show. You just left us for a while.
Yeah. Well.
Man, oh man. Morgan fires.
Are you going to be here on Wednesday? That's all we need to know.
Bear Dick is.
I don't know. Let's see how the tub goes tonight.
Bear Dick is falling down and can't.
Chad, I don't know any better way to end the show than tub time with Jason. So
yeah, I think so. We'll have
Should we make that a regular feature? Is that something you guys like to do?
I want to hear about tub time updates.
Yeah, instead of just the dick move of the week, we'll have the dick move of the week, and then we'll have having a tub with Jason Dick.
Sometimes I combine the two, Chad.
Well, you can name who you saw in the course of the week that deserves to get in the tub with you.
Oh,
man.
no. It's a big tub, but I'm a big guy.
All right, before we get out of here, let's remind you one more time. It is The Outsiders, brought to you by the good folks at Poncho. We're going to show you some more Poncho stuff. Look at this beauty right here. It's called the Daryl. This is in the denim section. I can speak on the denim. I got a couple of them myself. They are so comfy. They are so durable. They are so wonderful. That is your Daryl. How about this one? Here's your Ricky, the Ricky right there. And now watch this one for the little dudes. Look at this little dude in the spur. How about that? In the spur. You got to teach him to get that hook 'em horns up early. He's rocking. He's modeling by the tree. And we tell you to get your team color. This is going to start with that. Look at all these burnt orange. If you're a Texas fan, look at all the burnt orange options. But look what else happens. Got a little bit of that. You want to do a little bit of that? Look at the little purple. Going to go orange.
Whatever. Tennessee, which our chat line is blowing up, and they did look good beating Oklahoma. There's Tennessee orange right there.
Look at that, the Knoxville and the Neyland. You want to go? You want to go more on the red side? You want to go green? There's the Magnolia and the Amen, which we talked about before. Just some ideas for the color scheme that they can have for you at Poncho. Again, shout out to Poncho for being a great partner of ours. Mention Orange Bloods Live when you make your order at Poncho. Yes, to the person who asked earlier, am I wearing a Poncho shirt tonight? I am. I'm going to go change into a Poncho t-shirt and sleep in them. Thanks to Bo Edge, I've got like a rotation of like 4 Poncho shirts that my wife and daughter don't know where they are, and I just rotate. And they don't know I'm wearing it till I'm in bed. It's too late at that point. They're not going to take it off of me once I'm into bed.
I made the mistake of trying to root my team on to another division championship, so we're going to have to wait until tomorrow night.
Oh, I'm heartbroken for you, Bo.
I know you are.
Story. So sad.
That's all right.
Are the Rangers in the playoffs? Are they ready to defend that title? What's going on there? Can you give me an update?
Until we actually finish the deed, I'm not going to make fun of the Rangers quite yet.
Fair enough.
I've learned my lesson. You don't talk smack until the deed is done.
There you go.
But it's coming.
As Brian Jones always says, don't taunt the alligator until you cross the river. All right. Thanks to everybody for jumping in tonight. Damn near 800 of you in that Specs chat before we get done. And remember, Specs has that whiskey sale going until October 5th. Texas and Mississippi State, middle of the day kick. If you're headed to DKR, take your sunscreen. 3:15 is that kick time, and they are on SEC Network. If you don't know where that is on your TV, get that figured out before Saturday. We'll be back on Wednesday night at 8:30. Chance Mock, I'm sure, will be thrilled about his Buffalo Bills crushing Jacksonville tonight. 47-10. Did I see the final of that correctly? 47-10?
And Josh Allen didn't even play the fourth quarter.
Good grief. That is unbelievable. And Washington's going to beat Cincinnati. What is happening in the NFL? We'll be back on Wednesday night. We'll make our picks for Texas. We'll make our picks around the country. I don't think we had a Poncho winner this week, but we had a different kind of winner this week. There was a side bet that happened, and I think somebody may have gone 3-0 on a side bet, Bo.
Yeah, Big Cheddar, you're going to have to get with me on Twitter because apparently the Big Sips rotted my brain because that America flavor buzzball.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what I told you I would give you if you went 3-0, but you went 3-0. So.
Yeah.
We're going on the honor system here. Whether it was Poncho or Rogue Shop or whatever, reach out to me. We'll get you hooked up.
Yeah, Big Cheddar. We will try to figure out what that is, and you jump in on Wednesday, and we'll see if we can figure that out. All right, we'll be back Wednesday night at 8:30. Until then, we are the Outsiders. We are legitimately worth a shit, and we also remind you, be careful if you're taking a tub because you don't want to take a Jason Dick.